Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in once again to the Duval Dive. Of course, I am Kyle Nash, the student of the game. And Travis is on mute.
Of course I am, because I'm Travis Holmes with BigCatCountry.com.
That's right. Of course, you're listening to this thing now on the Believe Podcast Network. Once again, the theme music on point. What's it gonna be? It's a whole thing. We're leading you into Pick 100 as we react to 81 and 88. Obviously, the outrage is still rolling with Nate Boerkircher at 56, but at 81, keeping it at Texas A&M. Apparently, somebody's getting a bonus or a kickback or something. I'm joking. Albert Regis, the defensive tackle, the pick at 81, followed later by Emmanuel Pregnon out of Oregon at 88. But first, let's talk about Regis. Travis, your thoughts?
I mean, I thought it was an interesting pick, we'll say. He's an athletic freak, and he's one of those guys who, if you believe in drafting for traits, you're thinking, hey, I'm trusting my coaching staff to coach this guy up. He's a guy who's going to raise the level of everybody around him. Like, if you listen to anything anyone said about him throughout the entire draft cycle, is that all of the coaches that coach at Texas A&M, they will bang the table telling you that he raises the floor for everyone else. He's 295, which is interesting because he's a run stopper. He's a 3-technique run stopping defensive tackle. Like, normally you think about 3 techniques, you think, hey, this is a guy who's going to be our pass rusher in that Eric Armstead mold. That it's not exactly what he is. And I think that's actually very interesting, just because, again, he's a guy who can play 3 technique, but if you needed to play him in nose tackle and split, in certain situations, he's going to be able to do that very well, because he's very short and stocky. 6'1", but also he was drafted a little bit early. I'm not going to pretend that that's not the case. Like, if you look at it, but again, looking at his profile, other than his height, he's pretty much, he's a very explosive guy. I mean, you're talking about running a 4.88. Like, again, you're basically saying, Anthony Campanelli, here's another toy for you to play with. You got that leading run stopping defense. I want to put him right there into that. I'm gonna slide him right into that defense and kind of keep this thing going. And whatever happens with Devon Hamilton later down the line, you can kind of figure that out. But I just feel like it gave another toy. I honestly thought it was weird, just being real with you. Knee-jerk reaction. The consensus boards had Regis anywhere from 153 to 169.
Yeah,
so that's pretty early. That's if you're dropping at 81, that's
pretty wild. That's pretty wild. I hear you too, and we'll get to this in a bit. They do correct that with Pregnon, but some things here in the comments. Sunstay mentions, I think Gladstone might have a favorite scout. Whoever it was, A&M scout was apparently. He's going places. I get it. Yeah, it's a fascinating thing, and I know we alluded to the fact that the Blackwater system, aka the new JARS, that is the draft system that they're using, might be hallucinating if it's AI or somebody might have hacked the system. I don't know, but yeah, it's some stuff that we're not sure about. And to Preston's point, a lot of it may be that we haven't watched any of the first 2 picks. Hopefully watching some all 22 might change opinions for him and for you as well, champion, as I know you'll do the same. Frenemy of the show, Timmy Devil, chimes in. I like the lineman. We'll probably start in 2 years. Looks like Makari is here to stay. I'm not sure about any of that, frankly, but
wow, that was interesting. We'll start in 2 years. No. If you watch the Emmanuel Pregnon, like, this is the weird part about this. If you were to flip these picks and tell me, Pregnon, he was the consensus, draft boards at around that 30 to 41 mark, like someone who you wouldn't be surprised if they broke the first round in this draft. The Jaguars just got him in pick 88 in the 3rd round, and their second pick in the 3rd round. Obviously, there's something else that's going on. I can't tell you if that's medical. I can't say what it is. I haven't heard anything specific, but you have to feel like something else is there, because his tape says that he is a dog on the field. He's a dog in the run game. Shout out again, JP Acosta. We had him on last week previewing all these guys. We brought up Pregnon. We brought up Chase Bisontis also. Like, he gives his takes. Hey, I didn't think that they would be able to get Emmanuel Pregnon at 56, let alone 88. He kicks butt in the run game. prototypical guard size, finisher in the run game too. A little bit of trouble range wise, but this is my favorite Jacks pick, and it's very easy to be your favorite Jacks pick when the first two picks were, 70 to 100 spots off of the consensus draft
You're
board.
trying to say the bar was in hell. That's what you're trying to say.
The bar was absolutely in hell. But Pregnon, PFF put out, his pass blocking grade from the 2025 season was an 88.1, and he had an 85.8 run blocking grade. He was the only college football guard with an 85 plus grade in both categories. So again, you're talking about that should be excitement in Duval after that third pick for Pregnon, joining Jacksonville, who obviously has a hole or at minimum of competition that's going to be had at that right guard spot with Pregnon, with Patrick McCarry, with Wyatt Milam, and whoever else they end up wanting to put in that
Walker
rotation.
Little once Cole Van Lannon is healthy again. No. Anyway, I have to say that Fred the Jig is back in the comments with a voice of reason take. We are building the inside of our team, he says. Yeah, he mentions in the comments he's satisfied, the focus on winning the middle of the field. Let's be honest, you and I both have had conversations on various episodes of the Duval Dive where the middle of the field was the concern that we had, and at the very least they addressed that. I can't think that Robert in the comments makes a point. Tony Pacelli probably had impact on the Pregnon pick, I'm sure, and I think he had impact on the others too. Go ahead, Travis.
Well, I mean, I told you guys on the first podcast after we drafted, Nate Boerkircher out of the tight end, that I thought that the Jaguars probably freaked out a little bit after losing out on Jacques, the edge, because the New England Patriots traded up right in front of the Jaguars, and that felt like a knee-jerk reaction. It felt like they couldn't trade out of that pick, to move down because they didn't have anybody that they specifically wanted on the draft board. That was my opinion of what I believe probably happened in that situation, because again, you have a consensus draft board that listed him, the 153 to 173 range, the first pick for the Jaguars, and he ended up getting drafted at pick 56. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. That ain't great. Most folks would have been like, if they would have picked him at pick 100. I can't pretend that that's going to be a good thing that you picked the guy at 56 that you might have been able to get, in your last pick in the third round, realistically. Mm-hmm. And then you follow that up with another pick for Albert Regis, who was in that 150 to 53 range to 169, and they pick him at 81. Again, that ain't great. I can't pretend that that's great. So to your earlier point, hey man, maybe the AI in Blackwater got to be adjusted a little bit. I mean, I know this is year one. This is the test trial and everything else, but something feels off on this AI.
I'm available for your analytics department there, Stones, just to let you know. By the way, the Seattle Seahawks at 99, their pick is in. We'll be looking here at the Jags 100 pick shortly, but yeah, go ahead, and just want to let you know that we were approaching on that. But Travis, there's
at least
McCoy at 100, Matt Morgan.
At least the Jaguars did resolve that whole reach conversation by drafting, Pregnon at this point, because again, Pregnon was on consensus boards around that 30 to 41 mark, and they ended up getting him at 88. So it's a little bit resolved. Maybe if they get somebody else who drops 50 spots, then they can actually balance this thing out. Because as it currently stands, I ain't gonna lie to you. I tell you my honest opinion, no matter what. I know mock draft boards don't necessarily mean anything, but generally those people who draft around the consensus draft boards, they are normally doing very well historically. And we've had this in the chamber for months. I mean, to talk about, because it just hasn't come up in conversation. But when you look at the consensus draft boards and who drafts better than the consensus and worse than the consensus, you have like teams like the San Francisco 49ers, who historically just do well above the mean, and you have teams who don't do as well, and they sometimes can be struggling. Honestly, the Pittsburgh Steelers is one which I thought was really interesting. And the Dallas Cowboys is another weird one where they have wide-ranging variances as far as how they draft. Well, you can't then follow that up with the Jacksonville Jaguars, who generally also have had a problem with Trent Baalke in the past, reaching on picks.
I'm glad to tell you this, that the Jaguars pick at 100 is in your wheelhouse because it's a
Mm.
corner out of Maryland. Jalen Huskey is the pick at number 100. Travis, your knee-jerk reaction.
I'm always going to like a cornerback. I mean, so that's always a good thing. But I ain't gonna lie to you. I don't know enough about him. I haven't watched this film at all. So I'm blah. I don't know enough, unfortunately. And that is very yeah, Travis knows
It's a
this
pick.
corner. Husky. It is a pick. And I would love to give you more information off of it. Unfortunately, I don't have it. And I'm not the guy to pretend. So
Well, when it comes to evaluating day 2 in general for how you feel like the Jaguars did, which is the opening of the draft, which, by the way, yeah, Timmy Devil says, you got your corner. You should be jumping for joy. I'm not sure how you evaluate day 2 yet.
He's not a corner, though. He's a safety. And that's the problem. I watch corners like crazy. So when you tell me that he's
with you,
right. So you tell me this is a cornerback, and I'm like, well, I don't know. Then I got questions for everybody at this point. But now you told me it's a safety, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool. That makes sense then. All right, because I haven't looked very much at any of the safeties past, the early the top guys, because the Jaguars, I didn't feel like they had a dire need for a safety, frankly. And there's but so much time I have on my hands, and I'm gonna be watching tape of all the positions. So I mean, from what everybody's saying, his film was supposed to be very good.
But Preston, let me cut in here too. Preston, he says in the comments, "Oh, I thought he was a corner. My bad." He's listed on the websites as a corner. I said corner because that's what ESPN showed. So that's not anybody's fault. That's what
I got you. So from what I'm seeing, he is actually he's a safety. He's a wide-ranging free safety, specifically one of the types of safeties that the Jacksonville Jaguars don't currently have rostered. If you have, obviously you have, Caleb Bransall, he's more of a slot guy. Like, he can even man up in that slot. Generally, you got Antonio Johnson, who's also another box safety. When I said the Jaguars should have picked someone like I said, quote unquote, should have picked someone like a Genesis Smith, but they won't because he misses too many tackles. My main point was they need to have a free ranging roaming safety back there. That was the whole, the take of that. Like, if you give me a guy that you don't have on the roster and let Anthony Campanelli kind of do some different things with his defensive backfield, so he doesn't have to run as much quarters, it doesn't have to run as much cover 6. He can legitimately let this guy kind of do his own thing and make some plays back there and continue with these turnovers by tricking offenses, not knowing what defenses you're going to play. So I'm with that. Again, I got to look more of it at his individual tape, though, because I want to be honest and say, hey, I haven't watched it enough, but the general, consensus that I'm getting is, this is actually a really good pick. Again, you're talking 6'1", 199 out of Maryland. He has 11 career interceptions, a 10% career missed tackle rate. I told you guys about the missed tackle rate already, which is why I said they wouldn't pick Genesis Smith, which is why they didn't pick Xavier Watts last year. So again, you have a 10 career missed tackle rate, and you have an 83.5 career coverage grade. Hey, I'm on board with that. That sounds dope to me. Again, I want to dig into his film so I can give you guys my total take on that. But generally speaking, yeah, anytime you're going to give Anthony Campanelli another tool to mess with the secondary, I'm going to be a little happy about that.
Timmy Devil mentions an interesting point about involvement in special teams as well. I think that's worth mentioning here, just in passing, for that particular thing. And I'll make this point too. Fred makes it before I can. I was just about to make it before the pick came in at 100. We got all the positions, says Fred, the jig. And at the end of the day, Travis, every position picked was a position of need. Not all the needs. I don't think that's what he meant. Like, oh, we're solved, Super Bowl. And I don't mean like that. But every pick made, I believe, was a position of need. Yes, even that safety, because of the depth issues that we have seen with injuries and things like that. We don't know Ransall's situation. Will he be back in time to make the impact? I think that's an element of it. The same reason why everybody's losing their mind, and we'll certainly be talking about it again once the draft dust is cleared, and certainly after we've talked about UDFAs. Hopefully we can get Emory Hunt on again. That was great. But once all that conversation's had, the reasons why we're going to go back to the whole conundrum, alleged conundrum, I should say, better, of Travis Hunter going full-time corner is because of the depth and the injury list such as it is. Hunter, ironically, on it as well. So how's any of this really going to go? We have no idea yet, but there's still another day of draft picks to go over and sift through for their continued thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, and you can add Jordan Lewis to that conversation also. I mean, they got the secondary across the board is a little banged up, especially this offseason. So it makes total sense that you're going to add to that, both in the safety room, hopefully, fingers crossed, in the cornerback room sometime soon within this draft class, specifically talking about an outside cornerback, maybe one of the guys from Washington if they're still on the board. I know one of them was already gone, unless I missed the other one. I think Takario Davis still may be on the board.
Oh no, Takario got picked up actually.
Oh, Takario was the one that got picked up. I thought Prolek was. My bad. So like overall, I think this is a very solid pick again. And if you're going to give Anthony Campanelli more toys to play with, I'm always going to be on board with that. Still would love to see it. Go ahead.
Yeah, Matt Morgan in the comments asking if Huskey is Dewey Wingard's replacement.
I think Dewey Wingard's replacement was Rayon Lane. At this point, this will just be the second, because you have Antonio Johnson was also a big special teams player. But if Antonio Johnson's playing more at safety, then you also needed someone else to play more special teams and also be there to compete for that starting safety role, because they don't generally believe in just penciling and pinning guys in as the starter. You're going to go into every offseason feeling like you have some competition, unless your name is Trevor Lawrence for the most part. So I'm on board with you again, saying it. We have a legitimate free safety option that can roam the field. That's doing something that Eric Murray can't do. Eric Murray is brought in because he is a guy who gets these guys lined up very well.
Yeah.
And he's the guy to make sure he doesn't make mistakes. But he's not there to be an athletic freak that has the speed to roam sideline to sideline and make plays like in the deep center field. That's generally not his game, but he's good at filling the alley, a lot like Antonio Johnson. So now they have two guys who will be really good box safeties. That's your two starting safeties, and we'll figure out what Caleb Bransall is once he's truly on the grass. Now they have another guy who can do a little bit something different, and that's always going to be great.
Robert makes a good point here. Not that I'm trying to cover up for the Jags here, but there were several players that went in the third round that we saw us getting in mock drafts at the 5th and 6th rounds. We know nothing. That's true, man. There's all sorts of stuff bouncing around. Lee Hunter fell to 52, right? What the hell do we know, right? I'm joking, obviously.
But there's also a lot of general managers who just suck at their jobs. Can we also be honest about that? If you're a Jacksonville Jaguar fan, I always evaluate this thing from both sides of the fence: media, fan, to the actual team, and just looking at it from that perspective. Man, half of these general managers will be fired in 5 years, and then you have 5 to 7 that's elite, and then a lot of the dudes that's right in between. That's it. If you want to tell me right now, the Jacksonville Jaguars fan base, if I did a poll of y'all, could not tell me who the Jaguars should have been drafting, 9 of the last 10 years, I bet y'all would have drafted better draft classes than most of these draft classes, because I think, generally speaking, if you're really locked in like that, yeah, you know who the good players are, or generally who the good players are, even if you're just following the consensus boards. That wasn't happening under Trent Baalke's Jacksonville Jaguars, and that's not happening with a lot of NFL franchises around here who might pick someone 2 or 3 rounds early. So my point is, don't go by that, just saying that it's a good thing that necessarily guys who may have been ranked to go in the 6th round end up going in the 2nd. That don't make it necessarily a good thing. It could just be a bad pick that just got made, and dude's gonna get fired in 2 or 3 years.
I don't think that they're saying anything different, right? Everybody's already said that that's the truth. I think where Robert's coming in is not anybody is saying the opposite. You're kind of reiterating what the consensus already knows. Not to cheapen your idea, but those complaints, those criticisms, that's already out there. I don't think that's a question.
So I thought it was just real wild. Like the Jacksonville Jaguars had both the biggest steal of the 2026 NFL draft while also having objectively one of the biggest reaches.
Tallest reach, that's correct.
In the same draft class, and that is crazy. So that I think that results in a C if I'm doing this Common Core math correctly.
Yeah, that's a whole thing.
Yeah.
We're gonna be bold? Question mark. I don't know, man. Sure, dude.
So I don't know who's going to be like left. If you're talking, the fourth and round, unless I assume they're not going to be drafting up now because they're already talking to the media right now. Obviously, I'm not there today, guys, but it's okay. I'll let Gus handle that. And yeah, but so they're talking about the tight end. Oh, so and that's what Robert says. When asked about the tight end, the first words out of his mouth were, "We definitely got tougher tonight. His receiving abilities showed up when he needed to. Had a literal dream about him." But that's facts. At the end of the day, we knew that he was a dominant blocking tight end. We told y'all that on the first podcast. But at the end of the day, they wanted to get tougher. They obviously are telling you very clearly that they weren't tough enough. Whether that was on the edges with the tight end, or whether that like they have with the offensive line, we already knew that with the interior offensive line because they ran so much dang zone. They didn't run much, power or much, man gap stuff in the middle. They weren't trying to be powerful. They were just trying to outrun teams and shield them. They're telling you by their draft what they thought they had, or at least by the way that they're looking to get bigger in both the defensive line. Like even the 295-pound defensive tackle that they got is a run stopping defensive tackle who was really good at that. Like that's actually his thing. So even they're not getting bigger, but they are doing the same thing. They're getting tougher. They're telling you what they needed. Hopefully it works out well for them, but it feels very clear that they thought that they needed to get stronger. Like Trent Baalke said, we need to get stronger. We need to get bigger. All right, cool. We've heard this before. Now let's see you actually do that.
I don't know that I can argue with the one King David's logic in the comments here. Since when have the Jags ever had two solid tight ends at the same time? Listen, you're the Jags fan, so I'll default to if you could think of better, but I can't think of two tight ends that were there at the same time, doing noise. Kyle Brady was a thing, but he wasn't really a super great athlete. He was a blocking guy first. It felt like Mercedes Lewis was a thing. George Reister. I got nothing.
Neither do I. No, neither do I. But that's what the topic of conversation is. Both it's celebration and it's jubilee. Is folks are happy because of the final pick making this become a better night for a lot of people. Because I will be honest and say it was not a good night for many in the fan base. It wasn't. It is now. I feel like it probably is now because I think everybody kind of had a general same consensus on this offensive line needing to get bigger, it needed to get better, it needed to get stronger because we struggled so much in running the ball in the second half of the season.
How much could Brenton Strange being healthy the whole season improve the run game? We asked that question here on the dive during the season, and now they have two guys that can block, and the consensus. Yeah, and an offensive lineman too, of course. Yeah, the interior offensive line that we both talked about. But the point I want to make sure I hit with Boerkircher is we've heard more than one person say he's been a good receiver. He just wasn't given that opportunity to shine, right? What that sounds to me like is all the people that were freaking out about Trayvon Walker not having all the sack numbers because he was used more in the run stopping game. And then when they kicked him outside more often, he got more sacks. Funny how that works, right? It may just be about him getting the opportunity. And if you truly do have two Brenton Stranges, what that can do for a Liam Cohen offense with C-Rod is absolutely fascinating.
Yes. Two Brenton Stranges in the blocking game, specifically in the run game. They are different types of pass catchers from what we believe. And I say from what we believe because obviously one of them only has like 30 catches in his career or something like that. So that makes it a little bit of a different conversation, obviously. I mean, and I know you guys have takes and you should. I ain't gonna lie to you. Again, I told you guys my true opinion, knee jerk of the tight end pick. Told you my opinion of the defensive tackle pick. Like I actually thought that one was one that was good, but also a major reach. You can like the player. Like I told you guys, I like Keon Black. And then I saw the 49ers draft that dude. I believe it was at like pick 90. And I was like,
that's correct.
I was like, oh, I audibly said, oh, out loud. Like, oh my God.
You over here trying to win.
And I like the player. Right. So I can like the player and still say, I wouldn't do that, but it ain't my job. Like, like that can be from both sides.
You didn't even understand. You just like, that's wrong.
Yeah. So I'm being clear in saying this. I can like, Albert Regis and still say that's a little early. But again, it's no different than if you paid John and a great defensive lineman $40 million a year. I'm like, it ain't my money. That ain't my draft pick. I hope you hit on the guy, and we'll figure the rest out later. So I see all the comments. I see folks say, "Hey man, this was not a good night." Clark J. Kent says this was not a good night. I'm just not sold on Gladstone, and that's okay to say you're not. Just like we tell folks all the time that they got to earn these positions and they got to earn the trust and everything else. I believe that James Gladstone has to earn the trust of this fan base, no different than the coaches have to earn it on the field with wins and losses. He got to earn it with hits in the draft.
What have we said, Travis, that this draft would be what actually checks as to whether Gladstone is long-term, right? We said that.
Yeah.
If tonight the Duval Devout have a bad first impression, granted, there's still, 8 more picks to be made, allegedly. I say allegedly because you never know if he's trading some of them. I still feel confident about the over on 2.5 trades, man. I do. Okay. But all the above to say, it's okay if you had a bad feeling about tonight. If tonight you don't grade Gladstone well. That being said, if they 10-7 after this and win playoff games after that, you gonna forget about all this that you were bitching about just now.
Facts. No, it's somebody's Travis Champagne. All right, nice name. Like yeah, your mama named you nice. All right. How do you look at the Buffalo game and come away and say we need a tight end?
How do you not?
No. It's not a tight. How do you come away from the second half of the 2025 season thinking that the Jaguars don't need a better blocking situation, whether that's offensive line, tight end, or whatever? They just got a great run blocking offensive lineman, interior offensive lineman specifically, and added one of the best blocking tight ends that was available. I am not trying to champion what it is, but I can also acknowledge, like, hey man, they struggled like crazy to run the ball in the second half of the year. And the starting running back is no longer here. They got a running back who falls forward in C-Rod now because of that. And they got an offense, two blocking options in the run game. To me, that's what that screams is we knew we can't run the ball. We gonna fix that. This is our attempt to fix that. Maybe it might not be the right attempt. Maybe the right process to do it. Maybe it might be the wrong process to do it. I don't know. We're gonna find that out later. But for the moment, at least I can objectively say we know these guys' strengths is run blocking, both here in the interior offensive lineman and here at the tight end position. That makes sense to me from that perspective.
That and you want, and the question asked specifically was the Buffalo game. We've already forgotten how Walker Little got his entire ass whooped throughout that game. And you're going to wonder why a blocking tight end ain't going to help in this scenario. That's fascinating.
Right. The final interception. Wait. Bro, are you watching the game? You threw my hat down. Let me stop. No. Are you watching the games?
Ooh.
All right, bro. I think folks have selective memory. They got me pissed off right now. And I'm like, that don't even make sense now that I think about it.
I got
the final play of the Jacksonville Jaguars 2025 season occurred because both the blocking tight end on the left-hand side and Walker Little could not block one person. He spent inside off of Walker Little and the chip block from the tight end. Mm-hmm. And you asked, the Jacksonville Jaguars are tight end away?
With a straight
they literally might have been a better blocking tight end away. Your question is Jesus.
The answer to your question is yes. We looked at that game and said that makes sense. This is what we're trying to tell you.
Hey, man. Oh, my gosh. That was an interesting question, and that went to a place where I didn't know that was going to be. But, Lord, bro, everybody don't deserve it. That's it. I've been waiting to use this for about a few weeks, and you got it, bro. Lord. Yeah, so this is what it is. I don't know. You can be angry with this draft. I don't mind because I think you're actually right to generally be. I'm being real with you. Again, I like the players. I don't like where they were picked. And I'm gonna say that I think that might have been a waste of resources, but at the end of the day, it may not matter if you pick the right guys. If you just hit on the picks, and you'll probably be happy. Hopefully, they do.
As the guy on this panel who's not the card carrying member, as the guy that you, Duval Devout and Duval Divers, have very graciously let me stay around to talk Jacksonville Jaguars football, and as a 49ers fan, let me remind you, Trey Lance was a thing, and people were calling for the heads of John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan for picking Trey Lance, giving up 3 first-round picks for that dude. And then along came Mr. Irrelevant himself, Brock Purdy, to get them to the playoffs and eventually to the damn Super Bowl, where he was 1 pass away from beating Patrick LaVon Mahomes II. I feel that's necessary to point out here.
No, I got you. No, but if folks are bringing up a lot of the stuff, like a lot of people have opinions. Again, I was miffed, we'll call it. That's
Miffed
the right
is a
word.
good
Yes,
word.
miffed. I was miffed when I saw that Pregnon was still on the board when the Jaguars drafted the first pick at 56, but they ended up getting him later. So it does no harm, no foul. Well, I mean, you still probably could have gotten Boerkircher later, but still, I mean, we're gonna talk about
the
that.
resource thing is still accurate, but
We're gonna talk about that. But they still end up picking Regis over Grayson Halton, Big Citrus, Darnell Jackson, and FSU. Like I did think that was odd because again, he's a guy who's the size of a 3 technique, but generally is a run stopping 3 technique. He only had 3.5 sacks, but then he also had like 10 batted passes and a very low career missed tackle rate. I believe it was like 9.1. So like overall, he's good at what he does, but it didn't seem to be the thing that the Jaguars primarily struggled with. What the thing is they struggled with was having another pass rusher from the interior defensive line, and he doesn't really give them that. So then it makes folks ask the question, what is the plan? Because you were already first in the league at this thing that you just drafted a guy in early, and you didn't draft Grayson Halton. You didn't draft Big Citrus, who gave you a little bit of that at least.
And I'll say this. I did see Jamal St. Cyr, a friend of the show, tweet about this, and he made an interesting point. And granted, I sure as hell have not seen enough Albert Reach's film to confirm or deny, but if Jamal is correct, his take on it was that Regis is a dude that opens up opportunities for other dudes, right? He's the dude that's trying to help the dude make a play on another dude. Don't say pause, Travis. But the concept is maybe he's not there to directly open up pass rush, but maybe he is for other guys like the Devon Hamiltons, the Eric Armsteads, the PJ Greens, the Strigos to do that. Would that have been my first choice? Absolutely not. And Duval Devout, if for those of you that are calling for the head of stones, because Big Citrus went the very next pick, I am not mad at you. Caleb Proctor is not on this roster, nor is Lee Hunter, but that part's not his fault. I get your frustration. However, the question posed is how could Regis help in the passing game? It's more about opening up opportunities for other dudes, because if you have a guy that's that fast, can stay low and get in to take that shortest line to the quarterback, which is the middle of the line, and get lower than other big guys can get to make it happen, get low. It's a whole thing, right? Maybe, just maybe that's what they're relying on. Collapsing the pocket more than getting the sacks. Am I intimating in any way, shape, form, or fashion that this is the defensive tackle version of one of our favorite means, pressure man? Possibly.
Well, I mean, we already knew the Jaguars needed interior pressure. They needed the ability to collapse the pocket. So if you told me that the Jaguars have the ability to collapse the pocket, but it's not necessarily a guy who's going to get the sacks, I might be all right with that, because you do have Eric Armstead, who will be on this roster in 2026. I mean, that for anybody who thought that wasn't going to happen, that ship has sailed. Like, he will be here. And maybe you shouldn't have thought that. I can't help you. Talk to your mom or talk to your therapist. I don't know. But he will be here.
We are the therapist tonight, Travis. You keep forgetting.
But you do have those 2 top 15 paid defensive ends on the roster also, who will be riding the loop on these quarterbacks all day long. So if you get just a little bit of interior pressure, maybe at that Devon Hamilton spot, without giving up much more in the run game ever so often, on those, on those third downs and fours, third downs and threes where teams could still run a draw or something like that. Maybe that's where, Regis specifically helps you. He gives you a lighter body on the field who still is not giving up anything additional in the run game and can still push the pocket and give you a little bit of pressure so you can push those quarterbacks into those two edges that you have that are top 15 paid in the league. Like, I'm okay with that. And we'll see if that's how it materializes, because at the end of the day, I think every team in the NFL is positively looking at these draft picks for their team and saying, okay, this is going to work out. Or we can all objectively also say, this wasn't exactly what I wanted, but hopefully it works out. That's okay.
Robert in the comments, Regis can collapse. His strength alone will help with that. Mason couldn't even collapse the pocket if he was dehydrated. I don't know what that means exactly, but damn. And then, yeah, Preston, just imagine us taking Boerkircher at 56 when we could have got him at 124. My bad. We did actually. Listen, Preston.
Wait.
Buddy, we get it. That's a fine place to be frustrated with, man. I'm not taking that from you. Okay,
we agree with you. We actually agree with you. I don't even think this is something that we're arguing. But let's just imagine for a second that you got Emmanuel Pregnon at 56, and then you got Albert Regis at 81. I mean, it still wouldn't have been great. Let me be clear in saying it, but you would have felt a little bit better about it. It would have been probably a 40 to 50 mark, 40 to 50 reach on the consensus boards. And then you drafted, Nate Boerkircher at the pick 100. So then all of a sudden you're looking at a 40 or 50 reach. Overall, you still got 100 spot reach overall between the two of those guys, but you feel a little bit better about it at least.
Storm the Desert hinted at the same earlier in the comments too. So you have certainly great minds thinking alike with you, champion.
So I get you guys that feel a certain kind of way right now. Like, I fully understand if you feel like, hey man, I don't know what we're doing right now. And maybe that's not directed toward Liam Cohen, but I get why you may feel that way. But at the end of the day, it's about W's.
It's okay to vent too, Preston. Like, the reason why we've put up the Liam Cohen, what are we doing here? Graphic is appropriate, right? If we had the GIF, if I could figure out how to do it, it'd be the one where you could clearly lip read Cohen asking, "Are you bleep drunk?
Are you freaking
with
drunk?"
that in mind, I think it's a good time to bring up this concept. Leon Cersei on Twitter,
man,
after the second pick, hint: was there liquor in the war room when they drafted a blocking tight end in the second round? I don't see how that's any different than asking, "Are you bleep drunk?" I think it's the same thing, don't you, Travis?
Oh man, shout out Leon. That hit it on the head, bro. It was a comment. I mean, yeah. But again, you knew they were drafting the tight end not just on the blocking, but on the traits, because they said we're gonna fix this run game hella high water. And Matt Miller kind of sort of the same thing. Jacksonville has now drafted 2 players in round 3 that were. Oh, dang, I didn't even read this fully. Jacksonville has now drafted 2 players in round 3 that were not ranked inside of the top 150 on consensus boards. That's a fascinating difference in how players are seen. And I'm the person that banged the table for James Gladstone. I am the person that, after writing the full profiles on all of the coaches that were interviewed that offseason, after doing full profiles of all the general managers the Jaguars had interviewed that offseason, I said the Jacksonville Jaguars should hire Liam Cohen. I said the Jacksonville Jaguars should hire James Gladstone. I want to be very clear in saying that. And still being that person, I'm going to still say this has me a little concerned. I won't BS folks and say that this is not a concerning conversation, but also I think they trust that their coach, they trust their coaching staff. I trust Anthony Campanelli. I trust Liam Cohen to coach these guys up in the right ways and make these guys successful based on that's who they want as a combined unit. The regime overall are making these decisions. This isn't just James Gladstone saying this is who I'm going to pick and you figure it out. Like, they're talking about it together. So I have to believe that they know what they're looking for. And if they fumble the bat, they're going to figure it out after the fact. So now we have to wait for that development part of draft and develop. They are drafting guys. Sounds like some of y'all don't believe in them. I might be part of some of y'all. I might not necessarily believe in them also. But we don't have to. That's why you have development. And if they show out, guess what? It's gonna be just like that Brenton Strange pick when most of y'all was pissed off when that happened. And now all of a sudden that development looks like he's gonna get paid from it. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, listen, for me to remember how I felt, Britain makes me feel strange. No question. Sorry. But it's also true, ironically. So I mentioned the Trey Lance example. I'm not going to go on beating the dead horse because we truly know nothing yet. As I said, if they go 10-7 and win a playoff game, no one remembers tonight. Or if they do, it'll be a night where you had a fun conversation with the Duval Devout about a brief moment where you were thoroughly frustrated.
Yeah, but I think folks just want to be sure, and they want to be sure of the pick that's made. And if they're not sure of the pick that's made, they at least want to know the person's name. They want to know them, because if I know them, I remember that name. So and so was talking about them, so that makes me feel like it might be right, and that gives them that sense of certainty. Man, at the end of the day, it's all vibes. Even from y'all, it's all vibes because it's all projection. Y'all think most of the fans out here ain't watching film. I watch a lot of film.
This is
and
why
I don't watch
comment. I think we all just got a homework assignment from Stones. To your point, there's some film to be watched for you guys, for sure.
Yes. So I watch a lot of film, and I still haven't watched enough film of these two guys specifically to say, I think they're going to be great. They're going to be terrible. I can just tell you what the other people have said, and I disagree with some other draft analysts all the time,
including Emory Hunt.
Including Emory Hunt. We had a great conversation, and after the conversation was over, just so you guys have a look behind the curtain, we didn't talk for, I don't know, another 35, 40 minutes about our favorite prospects and where we disagreed on prospects. We're two draft analysts looking. I mean, he's a professional draft analyst. Same thing happened with JP Acosta. We had a whole nother hour conversation talking about prospects. Sometimes you're going to watch tape of a guy and someone else is going to watch tape of a guy, and y'all just going to disagree, and that's okay. So I'm saying that to say we didn't even watch the film of these guys, and y'all just basing your opinion off of, I don't know his name. But you haven't seen his tape, and some draft analysts out there says they're not this or they are this, and you're kind of going with it. I say take a step back. We're gonna see how to feel about it. I told you my knee-jerk reaction. I'm honest with you, and I'll be real about that 100% of the time and tell you, hey man, I was like, I don't know about this, but also I'm gonna see what I see, and if I don't like it, I'm gonna let you know I don't like it, and if I love it, I'm gonna let you know I loved it. Because again, y'all was also pissed off when Eric Murray was brought in as a free agent, and I watched 9 of his games the previous season and came back and told y'all tripping, and I was right. And that's not me patting myself on the back. I'm just being real about this.
There were people that didn't like the Eric Murray pick.
There was a hell of a lot of people that didn't like the Eric Murray signing.
I was one of them that liked it. I don't watch a
sign. This is a Jacksonville Jaguars fan base that was signing someone who came from the Houston Texans whose name they didn't know. Okay, doggone right, they ain't like that signing.
Your point is absolutely fair. I should have remembered that part.
So I had to look at the tape and I'm like, nah, bro, y'all tripping. Now he's gonna be a stabilizing force. Just give it a second. And I was right. Yeah, I think he might have had one bad game that season, and I thought that was a Buffalo game, and that was it. So
speaking of stabilizing forces, champion, you in fact were that tonight for Duval Divers and the Duval Devout alike, as we tried to help, heal, and hear all of the concerns of you Duval Divers and the Duval Devout. But champion, let's let the people have their night back. There'll be plenty to talk about here. We'll get back to you on Sunday as we evaluate the totality of the Jaguars draft. We would do it sooner, but let's be honest, Orlando sports is going crazy. Travis, I know you got something else you want to drop before we get out of here. What do you got, brother?
No, man, I'm good. I'm just checking out these comments because they are going crazy.
Yeah, they are going crazy entirely tonight. The earlier show, tonight's show, was absolutely fantastic, and for me, it helped me kind of cope and deal with what we saw on those draft boards. Go ahead, there, man.
So just let y'all know, I know that the 4th through 7th rounds will take place on Saturday. I believe it ends at 4:00, noon to 4:00. We will hit you guys up on Sunday and just give you our review of the overall draft class. Try to take a look and see what it looks like just as a combined unit. Just because we got lives, we got plans on Saturday, unfortunately. So I do hope you guys enjoy yourselves and whatever libations you guys have afterwards. But You know where you know where I can be found, bro. I mean, we're gonna talk. It's bigcatcountry.com. But hey, also, it's all of y'all in here. Click that like button, bro. For real, it costs you nothing but helps us out significantly. And the same thing on the audio side. If you're listening, please follow us, rate and review us. And 5 out of 5. Treat this thing like it's a survey on your cell phone, bro. Like, help us out in that way. And check out the guys over at bigcatcountry.com. I mean, Gus has been doing it big for us tonight, helping out on the scene with the Gladstone and Liam Presser. But yeah, hit
the like button too, damn it.
That's it. And PT actually, Preston wanted to know, did you like the 49ers draft?
Yeah, and I saw that. The reason why I'm not answering it, Preston, I'm here trying to produce a hell of a show for you guys right now. I haven't seen all of it. All I know is that Travis is pooping himself in the wrong direction for Caleb Black going at 90 to the Niners. He's got the lemon booty over it, but I can assure you that in Shanahan's office, he'll at least get carries and success. Whether he's the guy there or not is a separate question. It wouldn't be the first time, as I very abundantly explained, that Lynch and Shanahan went a little high. I will say I do like the receiver they picked earlier in this round, but I have not had a chance to look at all of it because I have been doing a show for you, ladies and gentlemen of the Duval Dive.
Well, I'm happy that they drafted Kalon Black high just to give me a reason to tell y'all I like players, but I also don't necessarily have to like where they're drafted. Cool. And you guys knew that was one of my top 2 running backs that I loved in this draft. It's not saying he's my top 2 running back in this draft, but I'm just saying the value that I saw him going at in mocks and everything else. I thought, oh yeah, that for that price, give me that guy all day.
Yeah.
But then you talking about pick 90. I'm like, oh Jesus, for that price, no.
Robert got me all in my feelings with this comment over here, man. Kyle, by the way, you are a proud adopted member of the Duval Devout. There are plenty of members who can get the boot. Yo, thank you, Robert.
Not they trading the cousin that used to bully them, and they all right, Kyle, you adopted into the family.
Sub in. Here we go. That's right.
Jesus.
No, thank you, Robert. That really does make me feel good. This is genuine here. I appreciate that, brother. Oh, now he's trying to trigger you. Emmett Johnson's still available, lady.
He's absolutely trying to trigger me. Mike Washington Jr. and Nicholas Singleton all still available. So that's crazy.
And yet Kalen Black is gone. Take that. Wait, what?
But hey, that makes me feel good. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna say. Let me stand on this. Maybe I should be feeling good about this. I told y'all Chris Johnson was going in the first round, and I said it a month ago, and a half ago. When I saw that dude's film, and I'm like, I don't know what the hell y'all talking about. That dude going in the first. That is a first round cornerback all day. I said the same thing about Malachi Lawrence, and then it started happening later. We started creeping up a little bit, and I'm like, all right, cool. He actually goes in the first round. And then I've told you I like
Cowboys made a lot of sense. As I wrote that article for UCF Night Zone, I felt better about that, but it still feels too high for him. I digress.
Right. I said there were certain guys that I didn't like, and I was just like, I don't know about that. And then there was the guys who I love. They're getting up there. Deontay Lawson's still around too.
Hey, listen, that's the 4th round. If they get Deontay Lawson in the 4th round, I think that will turn a lot around for you, sir.
It would turn a lot of rounds for me. I think it would help out this fan base a lot too. I think they'll breathe a little bit of a sigh of relief. But yeah, that's what I'm hoping for this fan base. But yeah, to see these guys, and Robert says, I don't know if y'all saw my comment earlier, but Gladstone said at his presser that he already knows what they're doing at 124.
I sure as hell hope so. That's the job.
I sure as hell hope not. Wait. So we are currently. No, don't tell me that, bro. Don't tell me that. Like, if the Jacksonville Jaguars are currently at what? The last pick was at pick 100.
Yeah.
And as it currently stands, their next pick is 124. And you're telling me you already right now know what you're going to pick without knowing who's even on the board at this point? Don't tell me that. I don't feel good about that at all. When we just had a conversation about 2 guys being drafted that were significant reaches on the draft board.
Oh,
I don't want you to tell me that you know what you're gonna do already, unless you're telling me that this dude was a 6th round, 7th round, 8th round draft pick, and you're gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna draft him now because Galaxy Brain. Oh hell no.
Oh, Robert brings up a good point. Just because they know what they're doing doesn't mean they're making a pick. He says here in the comment. Now, to be fair, they don't necessarily mean they're staying.
They
At 1,
they
2,
could be
4.
trading up to the top of
He knows what
round
he's doing.
4 and using that 124.
He's shipping that beast. Exactly.
Because I'm saying, don't scare me like that, bro. Don't talk to me about telling me I know what you're gonna do already. Oh Jesus, no.
When he says, but when we get pointed out, it doesn't mean it's a pick. See, you and Preston both on the same page. Another reach incoming. No. He could mean he's trading it. He knows he's going to trade it. I like what you're thinking, Robert. That's good. That's good.
All right. So now we're having a different conversation because, man, y'all might have me crashing out on here on live, TV. So
we watch
don't do that
you all get the lemon booty. That's a thing that just happened. Yes, sir. Absolutely.
So we are generally good, man. Yeah, you guys keeping it locked in, and we will talk to you guys on Sunday. But yeah, again, click the like button. If you listen to us on the audio side, follow us, bigcatcountry.com. Save it as your favorites. Again, the team is doing such a great job over there for all your written content and guys literally in the room for the pressers, in the locker room, talking to the players, interviewing the players tonight, like all those things, because we are literally on the ground, credentialed media. So keep it locked in. We'll have you guys covered here, have you covered there, and obviously, Nash, let them know where you can be found and what you got going on, bro.
You mentioned the organizations you're part of, and again, shouts to the great Gus Logue there for being on the ground, like you say. We also have guests on this show that are nationally relevant, like Emery Hunt and JP Acosta, as well as people who are also on the ground in the form of Jamal St. Cyr and others. Daniel Griffiths, of course. Bucky Brooks, my goodness, how do I leave him out? He was amazing. I'm still bitter that work screwed me out of going to that one, but nonetheless, folks, an honor, joy, and privilege to do this thing with you. It's funny. There was no Travis Hunter craziness. My hands weren't shaking as a producer, and I honestly had a lot more fun with this tonight with you guys than I did that one. So whatever that's worth to you, Duval Divers. It's Kyle Nash, the student of the game. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky at the SOTG. Check out my work covering UCF with UCF Night Zone and Locked On UCF. Shouts to Mikey G for giving me the opportunity to do that thing with James Duncan and Andrew Lukov, the local stat boy. And of course, my work with the Storm Surge podcast. Me and BP will be on the scene at Inter & Co Stadium right after I get done covering the Orlando Magic hosting Game 3 of the first round of the playoffs against the Detroit Pistons. Saturday's a busy day. That's why I'm not going to do the live thing with you, but we'll get you for all the reaction on Sunday. So for my personal champion, Travis D.Holmes, for all you Duval Divers that were amazing tonight in the comments, this is Kyle Nash, the student of the game. Until next time, everyone, class